Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for December 30th, 2024. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. The sentient AI is not available for today's show, so it's just me going through these 10 articles, although they're always here in spirit or in bitwise copy. I'm not sure how to really explain sentient AI when they're not directly connected to the stream. Anyway, these 10 articles: Cloudy Cider trademark ruling, closing the wealth gap, nocturism, a floating play something button, Redskins logo was edited out, a radioactive road, the fastest bullet train, let's smell like crumble, VW leaking location data, and duck. I just realized that I may not have put the show notes command into Omatron, and that always poses an issue with articles, so let's do that real quick. We'll do it live. It's been a while since we did a Non Sequitur News, and so yeah, roughly 8 days, something like that. We did the what do you call it? My brain is shutting down. We did the weekend editions, and those are composites of 3 shows, our 3 weekly shows on Saturday and 3 different shows on Sunday. And so those have been posted. They're over on YouTube and they're in the podcast. They don't get posted here on Twitch as a single unified composite, so you have to watch each show individually. But okay, so Omatron's been updated. And if you want today's show notes from Twitch, you can go over to Twitch and type in !NSN, and then Omatron will throw the articles in the order that we talk about them through to the chat. It does not take place over on YouTube because YouTube just doesn't quite like, I guess, what I have to say. I'd post them one by one, but I think that's kind of a pain for everybody. So they're already in the show notes. And if they're not, then they will be after the show and in the podcast. So be sure to go and check that out. At any rate, let's get in it. The first article is over in Non Sequitur News. Thatchers and Aldi are back in court on appeal of Cloudy Cider trademark ruling, which I think is completely batshit crazy. Earlier this year, Tech Dirt talked about this. That's where this is sourced from. A fairly silly trademark dispute in the UK between beverage company Thatchers, which my understanding of Thatchers was they are the testicles of Margaret Thatcher, and the German grocer Aldi, not their testicles. But anyway, at issue was competing lemon cider products offered by both companies. Thatcher's makes a product named Cloud Lemon Cider, and Aldi sells a Taurus Cloud Cider. And I'm sorry, Cloud and cider and Cloud Lemon Cider are descriptors. So in my perception, kiss my shiny metal ass. Taurus Cloud Cider is at least something that you can actually hang your hat on, because what the hell is Taurus Cloud Cider? You have to go and look it up. You have to go and identify it. Oh, Aldi's the only one on the planet that probably sells Taurus Cloud Cider. Thatchers complained that the products were too similarly named and that the trade dress for both products used similar color schemes. So don't ever look anywhere for anything citrus, because my God, Thatcher's is probably going to explode. Should it? But don't tell Thatcher's that there's green and yellow shit all over the drink aisles everywhere. Anyway, it says there's several issues with these claims. First, the names. Thatcher's claims that Thatcher's and Taurus are too similar. I agree with Tech Dirt. And so Timothy Gaynor is the author of this, and they write from the With a Chance of Meatballs department. That's where they wrote this article from. And they go in to talk about all this stuff. I have actually read a little bit about this in other places. But TrickDirt does a really fine job of synthesizing it all down to something that I identify with, which is a healthy coating of snark. So, and they talk about the trade dress, and they talk about the name, and cloudy cider is not really any more deserving of a trademark than hazy IPA, which hazy IPA, I don't know anybody that's tried to trademark hazy IPA. You may be able to trademark the entirety of the name, so-and-so's hazy IPA or so-and-so's New England IPA or whatever, but it's the full name. It's the name of the company. You don't want anybody to take your whole thing and do something with it, or even partially something of it. But in its embodiment, right? Like, that's how it works. That's how a trademark works. Anyway, even Taurus, for crying out loud, but at least in the context, Taurus, cloudy cider, Taurus cloud cider, meh. They don't have any pictures of it in the article, but it says, I would be quite surprised if the Court of Appeal found that the lower court somehow made such an egregious material error in fact in the case. They say that the parties are back in the court at the Court of Appeal on Tuesday and Wednesday as the cider company seeks to overturn this decision. Basically, the lower court said, nah, and found in favor of Aldi. The appeal in cases such as these are particularly difficult because the Court of Appeal may only intervene if the judge's findings of fact were rationally insupportable, which is such a weird turn of phrase. But anyway, or in making her multifactorial evaluation of the issues, she erred in law or principle. So, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I just got an alert. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah. So I was just informed by the sentient AI, who's not available for the show, but sent a message saying that there's a brewery called Trademark Brewing, and that's trademarked, which makes a hazy IPA called Cricket Sweater. Win. Obviously, they're not calling themselves something hazy IPA, right? Maybe Cricket Sweater hazy IPA. But they couldn't find a hazy IPA trademark in and of itself. So, yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about it. It's a descriptor. It's a category, a genre of. Just like cloudy cider is it's an unfiltered cider, right? So how do you describe an unfiltered cider where it's something shorter than Federal Express painted on a plane, right? And you shorten it down to something that is descriptive of unfiltered cider, cloudy. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Hatch Ideas. That's a show that I'm trying to put together that talks about business transformation, evaluates stocks and things like that. But here's how this DC area high school is attempting to close the wealth gap. And the wealth gap and technology gap pretty much go hand in hand. So if you can't afford something, then you're obviously falling behind. And it's very, very exploitable by those with means. We'll actually get into something that's kind of a proxy to that. Because if you've never suffered through it, then you have no freaking clue about it other than when somebody informs you. And what really tends to happen is you tell somebody and they fall on two lines. You're either a sociopath and you don't give a shit, or you're empathetic, sympathetic, compassionate, open arms kind of person who seeks equity and equality across all peoples, who abide by the social contract, right? Well, this DC area school is attempting to close the wealth gap. Over the course of 3 years, students take courses on saving money, building wealth, and budgeting, setting them up to achieve economic mobility and success, which is a rare thing. You'll go through school and talk about economics or accounting or something like that, but you're never being told anything about saving money, building wealth, budgeting, essentially playing the game. I don't like categorizing it as that, but if you've ever talked to anybody who is sub 30, that's kind of the term that a lot of people will throw at you, that they think that they're going to win the game. Most people who are striving to find something in terms of saving money or making money, they're not going to win the game. They'll play it a little better than others. But anyway, Jessica Dickler over at CNBC.com put the article together. At KIPP, or KIPP, DC College Preparatory School, students studying budgeting, saving, accounting, investing, managing risk, among other topics. Unlike many other high schools, the personal finance curriculum spans 3 years with a work-based learning component. The goal, according to Shafar Jeffries, Chief Executive Officer of the nonprofit KIPP, or KIPP Foundation, is breaking cycles of poverty. Well, it's certainly raising awareness. And education is the fundamental impactor on things like generational suffering when it comes to economic status or socioeconomic status. The moment that somebody is educated, they tend to break out of the dynamic that previous generations have been stuck in. So this is actually a brilliant opportunity for a school to change the dynamic. They say here, Keith Harris, a 17-year-old high school, enrolled in the high school's NAF Academy of Business, a rigorous 3-year finance program with a work-based learning component. Because Harris, who lives with his aunt, received a full scholarship to college next fall, he's also able to set some of the time aside and invest those funds, and some of the earnings that he gets will be part of that. Through the program, they developed a lot of skills, such as managing finances and investing in stocks, laid down a good foundation for them. But the problem here isn't with this program, it's with the rest of society, in that when a person is in a certain socioeconomic status, they're region-based as well. It's not everywhere. It's actually pretty tight-knit around certain regions of all cities to some degree, all towns to some degree. But there is a dynamic, a loop, which with each generation basically suffering because there is another group that puts downward pressure on anybody who tries to break out of that cycle. And so you have to go into survival mode. And when you're a student, a child, even a parent in survival mode, you can't excel, because you're basically worried about when something might happen, or where to get food, or how to get to work, or whatever. So this is the step that everybody needs going in the right direction. But there are certainly a large cohort of people that are blind to this dynamic, and that's part of this show. And the whole channel, really, because we talk about science, technology, and society. Science is an educational component. Technology certainly has the educational component to it, and it levels the playing field, because a person with something as simple as a laptop that just barely works can get them online, and you have access to the world's knowledge. And with AI, you even get to go further. And of course, the society component of this. We are all part of one social dynamic. So I hope that you can appreciate that, and you're in the camp of not being a sociopath. Let's keep going, though. There's more in this article, but I'll let you go on over to it and read more about this. As a DC area high school is attempting to close the wealth gap, but it says high school, and they're talking about this high school, and this high school's NAF Academy of Business, but there is a person higher there's a section of this higher up, the KIPP DC College Preparatory. I think that's a college prep high school that has the NAF Academy of Business within it, and that is what's providing this 3-year finance program, which, again, I think it's brilliant. But everybody needs this too. But I'm glad that they're targeting and making a big difference. All right, so this next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel over at ohmtown.com. It hasn't broadcast anything yet, but it may in the future. 2025 is right around the corner, and we're deciding on 2 new shows to bring to ohmTown and the podcast and YouTube and everything. So at any rate, and we're about to hit 1,000 subscribers. So we're pretty casual about things. We don't advertise or hype. We just kind of post our stuff out there. And I hope that you can tell a friend and they can like and subscribe and continue this ride through 2025 as well. Okay. Well, anyway, the next article is over here. It's called Nocturism is expected to be a big travel trend in 2028. And you may be able to glean from nocturism that it has to do with tourism at night. Nocturism focuses on nighttime travel experiences, and proponents say that it's a way to avoid heat and crowds while seeing a destination in a different light. Har har. So they got a cool picture of the aurora. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Aurora Borealis as viewed from Storslet. I'm probably pronouncing that entirely wrong. It's probably like Bob, Norway. But anyway, Rebecca Douglas Photography took that picture. And I don't know, what is that over there? I don't know if that's a cloud or if that's a meteor shooting through the sky or if that is a galaxy far, far away. So Mary Lou Costa put the article together. And it says that this Rebecca Douglas person has been to Iceland 29 times and she's already booked her 30th trip. Gee, subtle flex. Wow. Douglas has been photographing the spectacular phenomenon, the Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis, since 2010. Its colors, which can paint the sky dazzling array of green, purple, yellow, and blue, are the result of sun particles that react with gases in the Earth's upper atmosphere, and with the current solar cycle reaching a peak of its 11-year period, the lights are expected to be even more prominent during the next 4 years. So they're referring to this travel at night kind of experience as nocturism, a trend that focuses on nighttime travel. Look, let's be real here. When more people catch wind of nocturism, it's going to go viral and it's going to be just as damn busy, but more constrained because there's only so many nighttime experiences that you're going to have. Obviously, you're not going to be able to see aurora experiences in broad daylight. So again, anything that has to do with sightseeing that can't be seen at night, like standing at the base of a mountain and looking up at the peak, isn't going to be a nighttime experience. So I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a ton of people that are still going to be crowding these nighttime experiences, and they're going to be at a premium and whatnot. So I say go and don't try to use it as an excuse to get away from crowds, because there's going to be crowds anyway. The global survey of more than 27,000 travelers by the company showed nearly, and the company being Booking.com, showed nearly 2 in 3 travelers said that they've considered dark sky destinations for activities such as stargazing, 72%, which it's really tough to stare at the stars during the day. And once in a lifetime cosmic events. Never mind. And constellation tracking, 57%. Most activities involve the night sky, but others happen to be on the ground, from city tours and truffle hunting in Italy to night of full moon picnics by the sea. Wayfarer Travel said nocturism experiences rose 25% in the past year. This is the marketing thing. So I would say that this is, pretty much marketing. These places have existed for eons, and now people are hearing about it because somebody started to call it nocturism and is pumping up the existence of trips at night. So this person says, in the search of darkness, Douglas avoids hotel packages, preferring to plan their own trips since they plan so many activities at night. They also said that they prefer to stay out of the way of large groups, which are often made up of people new to nocturism who unwittingly create light pollution with their smartphones and camera flashes. Yeah. So there's more in this. Oh, and there's even more marketing in this. Douglas created an online course to help people photograph the aurora borealis. So, interesting. At night, she also photographs noctilucent clouds, shimmery ice crystal clouds located high in the atmosphere, and polar stratospheric rainbow clouds, they say. And they sometimes shoot from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. and have been out in temperatures as low as 5 degrees. Flex. Yeah, so you need to learn how to shoot photography at night, which is usually long exposures. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. YouTube is testing a floating play something button. YouTube is testing a new play something button that will pick a video for you. 9to5 Google spotted it on a YouTube app for Android. The button floats just above the bottom of the bar, and when tapped, it picks a video to play for you, which is kind of allowing the algorithm to dictate what you are interested in, which tends to frustrate me to all hell, because I'll click on something once and I'll be flooded by stuff that is directly associated with it, and then maybe deeper further into the list, tertiarily attached to the topic. And if I want to hide something, I have to say, don't show me that channel, or I'm not interested. But YouTube, please tell me what it is that I'm not interested in when I click that button, because I don't want you to dictate what I'm not interested in when nothing that I have as a descriptor necessarily is everything that you're going to be blocking in the future. It's very frustrating to want a type of video gone. Like, there's certain videos that I'm not interested in. I don't want to see them. I don't want them blocking something that I'm actually going to consume. But if I say I'm not interested, it's nebulous. I have no freaking clue what it is I'm not interested in the totality of that video, because the context, the words used, the graphics involved, all of that is something that could potentially impact everything else. If it accounts for that I'm not interested in this, maybe something in there I am interested in, but because it took it as a whole, I'm no longer able to view anything. Well, Wes Davis put this article together. The deck statement says it's basically the YouTube equivalent of Google's I'm feeling lucky button, except that it's in the app. I haven't seen it on the website, but who knows if A/B testing shows that this thing is being mashed like that. There was a psychology experiment where people were told to just sit at a table and there was a red button, and they weren't allowed to touch that red button. And they said, don't touch that red button. And they would touch that red button and receive a shock. And somebody like mashed that button something like 1,200 times because they needed some type of stimulation, because there was nothing else to do apparently for like hours. Anyway, just as in earlier versions of the feature, YouTube's been testing, the new button reportedly uses the portrait-oriented YouTube Shorts player to show videos, regardless of whether they're vertically formatted shorts or standard YouTube videos. Hopefully that changes by the time the feature gets a wide release. Other incarnations the company has been testing over the year include a Play Something banner and a simple button that looks black and white YouTube logo. And if the feature's name sounds familiar, it's because Netflix retired a similar random video picker last year called Surprise Me, which originally launched in 2021 as Play Something. And the last time that I mashed that Surprise Me button, my neighbors were audited. It was weird. I don't know. Highly effective, though. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Redskins logo edited out of NFL Commanders game sparks fury. Oh, let's be mad. Let's be mad because a company decided that they were not comfortable with the ramifications of the term Redskins, and a Native American, or I prefer calling Native Americans or Indians indigenous people, because they were here before, Europeans came knocking. Well, anyway, this is one of these things where the submission kind of triggered me into wanting to respond in a certain way. Flynn Nichols put the article together over at Newsweek, and what it comes down to is the Washington Commanders used to be called the Washington Redskins, and they had a logo that was, well, when people started getting a voice, instead of just screaming into the black void of sociopathy, when people started getting a voice and rising up and saying this is wrong, it's racist or insensitive or cultural misappropriation, etc., which, let's just say, when a people's responds to someone saying it's cultural misappropriation, and they're coming from a perspective where the culture is basically a non-issue, because you can't really define a particular culture other than just saying this is America. No, America has always had, well, proponents of America say that we're a melting pot, but then when you walk into the wrong town, you're suddenly confronted with, you're not a melting pot because you don't look like us or act like us. Anyway, so here you have the Washington Redskins changing their name to the Washington Commanders and getting rid of the logo, and they're reevaluating everything. And what ended up happening was RG3's jersey was edited to remove the Redskins name and the logo for the old Washington Redskins, because now they're the Commanders, or Washington Commanders. So they transitioned from the Redskins name and logo to the Washington football team in 2020, later rebranding to the Commanders in 2022. And so people are all up in arms about this. Oh my God, they really took the name off, the Redskins name off of RG3's jersey on a graphic comparing him to Jaden's rookie numbers. And then somebody else says they just showed so-and-so editing out the Redskins name, and it's time to bring back the Redskins logo and name. And my problem, the reason why I brought all of this up, is removing it does nothing, doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't change the dynamic. Y'all know exactly who RG3 is. It doesn't change the situation. And the only thing that it does is it shows that you're a human, and you can appreciate that there are peoples out there that might be offended by the bullshit use of referring a derogatory term for a population of people who did nothing wrong except exist at the wrong place and time for somebody else to want to, take over the land. And if you've never been on that side of it, or you're a sociopath and you don't appreciate it, even though you could be a victim of that in the not so near future, where is the wrong in this? Why don't you just let this go and show appreciation? If anything, the old things that no longer exist but are in high demand, they go up in value. So if you're a collector, then all of this Washington Redskins stuff is now more valuable, not because it's more appreciated, but because it's now constrained, and somebody else is going to want it more than you, and maybe you can make a fast buck. And really, it's a win-win, right? Because now there's a whole group of people that can say, thank you for appreciating our situation and not treating us like shit for the duration. And you're not out anything, man. It's a damn shirt that you paid ridiculously high price for, and now it's going to be constrained, so it's going to be worth more to other like-minded people who, want to stick it to those Aboriginal people or original peoples, or Redskins, or whatever you want to refer to them, so that you can sleep at night. Just accept this. You're treating people with respect by allowing this to change to a way where nobody is being, it's not an attack anymore. It's not a slap to the face of the entire historical record of existence. Just embrace it, folks. Be a team player, which is, I know that in some aspects, it's the antithesis of watching sports, because you have to hate everybody else except for the sport that you, or the team that you love in that sport. Let's keep moving. My soapbox was getting taller and taller. I was about to fall off. Anyway, the next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. Florida is finally getting its radioactive road. Well, they've gone and done it. A company in Florida got last-minute approval last week from Biden's Environmental Protection Agency to build a practice road using radioactive materials, and it seems like such an obviously bad idea, but a bad idea never stopped the government. Well, no. It isn't the government, bro. People run the government. People lobbied people. And somewhere in there's money or reputation, a feather in somebody's cap, something that is greed-based, instead of going, you know what? We have nano and microplastics and toxic chemicals that are forever, and now we're sticking radioactive materials in the road that's going to get kicked up with every road or every driver across it. And they're going to drag that shit all up and down the road as time goes on. But let's find out exactly what all is involved in this. So Aaron Markey over at jalopnik.com put this article together. And again, this has nothing to do with the government. The government is not some disembodied entity floating up in space, directing people to do this, that, and the other. It's human beings. Humans are pliable. They can actually be manipulated through a whole lot of things, but it's primarily seemingly money, and maybe a little nepotism, or sticking to the letter of the law, and they couldn't figure out a way to actually kind of put the brakes on this, so to speak. So the new road, courtesy of Mosaic Fertilizer, is described as a small-scale pilot project going up on the company's private property in New Wales, Florida. It's Florida. In the past, the agency has raised concerns about the use of this material in road building. It said in 1992 that use a phosphogypsum in road construction created risk for both construction workers and also anyone who later builds a home where the phosphogypsum road had once been. The agency, there's no way. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out where in this, what is the radioactivity level of this that they're talking about? But regardless, we just did articles about how nano and microplastics could be the causes of cancers because we inhale them. But I think that's more accurate than not. Whereas this, we haven't really heard anything about this. But they say, however, Mosaic, which will build the road, has described the effort as part of a pilot project that will demonstrate the range of road construction designs. It's not clear if additional road construction will follow, though doing so will likely require further approvals. They say that Florida is the number one producer of phosphogypsum waste in the world. So all they want to do is they either want to throw it in the ocean or they want to pile it on roads. Yet we're going to find out 10 years from now that this shit is horrible for humans, animals, and biology in general, right? Plant life around it is going to die. Naturally, people who care about the environment and public health are a little pissed. While the danger to the public may be minimal, we used to think minimal was about a lot of things, man. There's radioactive bakeware out there that there's lead, for crying out loud. We had lead. We knew it was bad 75 years ago, and we still put it in gasoline because we're idiots. And somebody was greedy because it was cheaper than it was than some other solution, and you didn't really need it. It was like a stabilizer, and that's all it was. Anyway, so we're going to find out that this crap is horrible. But, you know, you go, Florida. You want to be the radioactive mecca for the United States. Why should I stop you other than being a human who doesn't feel like ever going to Florida? Because, my God. Phosphogypsum is formed when processing phosphate rock to make fertilizer. The phosphorus is removed by dissolving the rock in an acidic solution, according to the EPA. The remaining substance contains radium, which then off-gasses radon, which you won't even know when it kills you because it's filling your basement. Using the slightly radioactive substance in road building has been a hot topic for decades. Congress actually amended the Clean Air Act to expressly forbid the use of phosphogypsum in road construction. They want to use it in roads to get rid of it because it is a pox on the process of creating fertilizer. That's the only reason. It has no other redeeming value. Congress amended the Clean Air Act to expressly forbid it. Now the outgoing administration said you can do your test. Incoming administration is going to approve it. Had approved it. And now the incoming, the seesaw is going to cause whiplash in the environment. EPA now says that Mosaic can have a little radioactive road as a treat because the company made some pretty good arguments. First, the new road is small. It's on private land owned by Mosaic. The company claims the public will never come in contact with it, well, until Mosaic goes under. Hey, is phosphogypsum really worse than in big piles rather than locked up in a road? It's not locked up, though. And it's off-gassing. Gas is going to come out. The EPA reconsidered and allowed construction to go forward. So, yeah. This is just bullshit. Trying to get rid of their hot garbage mess. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. China shows off the world's fastest bullet train. We'll make this one really quick. There really isn't anything to show other than it almost looks like it's CG. But anyway, AJ Dellinger over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. The prototype CR450 can hit speeds of up to 280 miles per hour. Looks pretty cool. Looks like a spaceship cockpit right there. As reported by the South China Morning Post, the CR450 will be able to reach peak speeds as high as 280 miles per hour and will have a top commercial operating speed of 250. For comparison's sake, the state's rail operator current CR400 trains operate at about 220 miles per hour. The CR450 will be able to complete the 700-mile journey from Beijing to Shanghai in about 2.5 hours, according to state-owned news organization. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yasai, I think. I don't know. Global. I've never heard that pronounced, so I don't know. Maybe I can look it up. Anyway, it'll weigh 10% less than its predecessors. And will lower the operational resistance, the force needed to move the train, by 22% because of that. It'll have low drag, sharp nose front, aerodynamic windshields, help the CR450 maintain its peak acceleration. So looks pretty cool. For some reason, I always thought it's weird that it's, instead of symmetry, right? They do 3 on one side, 2 on the other. Like airplanes do this too. 3 on one side, 2 on the other. I always thought that's odd, but it's to jam one more. You don't want people too comfortable, you know? You got to jam another seat in there and make life uncomfortable for everybody involved. Although this looks like it has more leg room than a plane will ever have. And apparently the business class has much more comfy seats. Everybody else, you got to lay down and people will lay on top of each other like cordwood. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the continuity report. You can now smell like crumble cookies. If it wasn't enough to simply consume crumble cookies, you can now lather yourself in their sugary aromas. The beloved cookie company, which has become a Los Angeles hotspot and celeb favorite for the past year, has now partnered with Dove on a body care collection inspired by their most popular flavors. I don't have an ad blocker, but whatchamacallit, what is the name of the browser that I use now? I forgot what it's called. Damn it. Anyway, starts with a V. My brain isn't working on it. Anyway, Anna Tingley over at Variety.com put the article together. So yeah, Crumble now has strawberry crumb cake body scrub and lemon glaze, which I've never liked lemon. Like, I like lemon sugar cookies, the ones that are like have a really light lemon kind of a thing. And lemon poppy seed. Let me correct myself. It's lemon poppy seed that I like, but I don't like lemon cookies where it actually has like something lemony in it. Maybe the glaze can have a slight lemon tint to it. But anyway. So there you go, folks. Dove plus Crumble or times Crumble, it has it here. This is your moment. They wrote on Instagram, confetti cookie, lemon glaze, strawberry crumb cake are now available as body wash, scrub, deodorant, and hand wash exclusively at that 5-star shopping experience, Walmart. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Volkswagen leak exposed location data for 800,000 electric cars. For months, the location information of around 800,000 Volkswagen vehicles, electric Volkswagen vehicles, was available online due to a data leak. According to a report from the German newspaper Der Spiegel, the leak reportedly stemmed from the software running inside Volkswagen vehicles and could have allowed a bad actor to trace a driver's exact movements, as noted by Electrek. Need to pay attention to that source, I suppose. A whistleblower first notified Der Spiegel and the European Hacking Association Chaos Computer Club of the vulnerability, which also affects EVs from Volkswagen-owned car brands on a global scale, including Audi, Seat, Skoda. The article was put together by Emma Roth over at TheVerge.com. The Fighting Verges. Verges. I mean, I'll leave it alone. Anyway, the leak also included email addresses, phone numbers of drivers in some cases, according to Der Spiegel. Precise location of about 460,000 vehicles. Says the data was accurate to within 10 centimeters for Volkswagen and Seats vehicles and within 10 kilometers or 6 miles for Audi and Skoda models. Cariad, I guess it's called, has since addressed the issue. They found that Cariad, the Volkswagen subsidiary behind the automaker's software, made it possible for an attacker to find and access driver data housed in Amazon's cloud storage service. Hey, did you know that you can take just a few classes and become AWS certified? And you'll actually have the skills and hopefully the tenacity to harden your infrastructure from external access. I know, it's odd, but yeah, you can actually, train and not just bumble fart your way through it. Now, maybe everybody is trained and they're the subject matter expert in it and somebody forgot to put a this there or a that wherever. Sure. But you as the developers of all of this have to be right 100% because there are tens of thousands of people out there at any given time knocking on the door of Amazon Web Services trying to get in. You screw up once, you pay the price, both in reputation and financial remuneration, particularly in the European Union, if everybody's data is exposed and they are harmed. You can't screw around. So check everything, measure twice, cut once, and don't ask for forgiveness later. You're not going to get it from me. All right, the next article and our last one for tonight is over in the Mobile Channel. NFL fans lost their minds over a duck on the field. At one point during the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' impressive 48-14 victory over Carolina, the former's fans were chanting "Ducky, Ducky, Ducky." While it sounded very similar to the chants for phenom Bucky Irving, who had a solid day himself with nearly 200 total yards in his name, the fans were mispronouncing his first name. They were actually cheering for a duck. The article is over at Vice.com, put together by Kyle Filippi. Talk about a good luck charm. How about a good duck charm? You're a good duck. Yeah, there has to be video online about it, but there's no video here. They're obsessed with the duck at the Tampa Bay game. Man, I don't know. I guess fanatics are what make the sports genre domain go round. That was our good luck duck, said Tampa star Mike Evans, who also called it the craziest thing he'd ever seen during a game per ESPN. I've never seen us block a punt and then we scored a touchdown when the duck flew on the field. That was amazing. I just thought that it was funny, says Devin Culp. I was laughing the whole time seeing the guy try to get him off the field or whatever. Hilarious. Look, I've seen a lot of stuff that walks and quacks like a duck. Usually doesn't impress me. You know what? I'm more impressed by this duck on the football field than I am than by the other things that walk and quack like a duck, flap like a duck, must be a duck. Anyway, we are going to duck, and that'll bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com, where you can go and check all of the news, none of the noise, because all the noise is said by me right here in ohmTown Online. On Twitch and YouTube, this is Non Sequitur News for December 30th, 2024, and we're going to continue this daily show, except for the weekends, where we put together 3 shows each day in different topics on Saturday and 3 more different topics on Sunday. And we compile each of those 3 shows into the weekend editions of Non Sequitur News because it's more focused than what NSN is all about. But anyway, go and check out our nearly 1,700, probably more than 1,700 episodes now, as we come to a near close of 2024 and start our 4th season of Non Sequitur News. Yeah, I think that's about it. We'll see you later. Bye. Bye-bye, YouTube. And bye-bye, Twitch.